Introduce yourself, Phil, and tell us who you are and who you're working for.
Sure. My name is Phil Santer. I'm the Vice President of Business Development for Ann Arbor Spark, which is a regional economic development organization in Michigan.
Okay. And what's your mission there at Spark?
Our mission at Ann Arbor Spark is a pretty broad one. We're trying to increase the GDP of the entire region. So we partner with companies of all sizes, all the way from sort of startup ideas to large mature stage companies, and partner with them to encourage their growth into Michigan and in the region so that we have a stronger regional economy for our people to work and grow and thrive here.
Okay. So primarily economic development in the greater Ann Arbor region.
Exactly. So we're sort of a unique organization in that we sort of cover all stages of development, from a small entrepreneur all the way up to large stage companies. And we've been doing this work for about 10 years. And we have probably where the partnership, and this is more relevant, is that we've had, and I can maybe get into this as well, but we have a partnership with 5 other counties in our region.
Okay.
That we designate as the greater Ann Arbor region.
Okay, great. So what got you interested in working with Growth Services Group?
So like I said, we have this partnership of 6 counties that makes up what we're calling the greater Ann Arbor region. And we've been partnering together as economic development providers for the past few years, and really looking for ways to ensure that we're presenting a unified and solid message when it comes to the talent and workforce that we have in our region. And we started working with GSG related to a study that we wanted to do to provide additional insight and information into our talent pool and talent populations that we have in our region.
Okay. And why was that important to your region? Have you seen other regions secure contracts and new employment with this kind of labor reports?
Sure. So there's been a saying, I guess, that we've said, and I don't know who exactly coined it, but we've picked it up, and that's that talent is the currency of economic development. It used to be that talent is the new currency of economic development, but I think it's at this point it's really talent is the currency of economic development. And what we think is really important is that we have the appropriate information and data to provide companies and decision makers that are influencing location decisions to be able to give them insight into the labor pool. I think one of the things that's oftentimes frustrating from our work is that labor information can sometimes be out of date. And it's important that we be able to provide as much real-time access to information as we can so that companies and decision makers are reviewing information that's up to date and relevant as opposed to a few years old. So it was important for us to be able to provide not only up-to-date information about our talent pool, but also information that is not a standard way to measure information on the workforce.
Gotcha. So what impact do you envision this report having on future employment in your region?
So I think the report that we worked on with GSG is going to be really important in providing information to a few different stakeholders. I think one, it's helpful for us at the local level for policymakers and our local business community to be able to understand what the lay of the land is relative to our current labor pool. I think there's some interesting information and questions that can be derived from a public policy standpoint with the information that we've been provided. I think the other key element for us is really from an attraction perspective. So the ability to be able to talk to site location influencers and companies that are considering location decisions and provide them with information on what type of talent pool they'd be able to get access to in our region and what type of opportunities there could be for either their business or their clients.
Okay, great. So how will the data from the report help you lure new business development to your area?
So I think it's really a matter of being able to present multiple information sources and the kinds of questions that we can answer to I guess opportunities that come up. So an example would be that if you're working on a project that would I don't know, for example, a call center that would provide potentially hundreds of jobs to the local area, they want information about what types of wages it's going to take in order to lure the quality of candidates that they're looking for. where they can identify those candidates and what are the motivating factors to be able to encourage someone to join that operation. And this is the type of information that's really going to lead to them understanding where they can identify those talent pools and what decisions they're going to have to make in terms of finding that talent in the local area.
I understand that this report actually gives enough data about specific elements like what would entice the underemployed or what would entice someone from another employment situation to come and work for a different employer, what they're looking for economically, even maybe in terms of advancement in their job and retraining.
Yeah, exactly. So I think what's really interesting about the report that we're still reviewing is that it's providing information on talent pools and talent populations that I'm not sure have traditionally been thought about in terms of where to find talent. So we have a lot of conversations about who's unemployed right now and actively seeking work, and that's a really helpful and important conversation to have. And it's that's a really important conversation. But we've also been having conversations about what's the talent pipeline and how do you encourage students or people that are still in the sort of training phase of their lives find employment opportunities after the fact. But what's interesting about this is really focusing on the underemployment component, and those are people that have identified that they're still in the labor market. They might be employed right now, but they'd be interested in finding an additional job if the opportunity was right. And that's been an unexplored area for us in the past and something that we were interested in finding out more about with this report.
Have you had any reactions or interactions with site selectors specifically in the past or in the present? Now that you have the report, what have the reactions been to the labor data that you've given them in the past, and what do you think their reactions will be to the new data that they'll be receiving from you?
Sure. So we'll often get calls from site selectors that are considering their next project location and want up-to-date information about wages and information about other companies that are in similar spaces in the area to help benchmark that information. We haven't yet had an opportunity to present this data that we have to a specific project opportunity, although we're planning to present it during a familiarization tour that we're doing in a couple of weeks here, and really want to use this as a way to underscore some additional information about the labor pool and the labor market that we have in the greater Ann Arbor region. And we think this is going to be an important element to be able to supplement data that is already available and really provide multiple levels of information to the site consultant and to their client. So here's information on the through the sort of the standard labor information. Here's some data or I guess resources of current people that are in that industry. And then here's some information about underemployed or other or unexplored avenues in the labor pool.
Did you ever have any negative reactions in the past from site selectors about not having enough data?
Yeah, so I think having the right data or having the most up-to-date data, I think, is often something that can hold a community back. So I think oftentimes when you're relying strictly on federal resources or information about the labor pool, as I mentioned, it's sometimes out of date or a few years old. It's really great information. It's really strong. It's just not up to the minute in terms of having all that access to what you need in order to make a business decision. So I think it's a matter of more and timelier data is always better than out of date or less data.
Gotcha. Okay. Tell us about your experience about working with GSG.
So we worked through GSG as part of a consortium, as I had mentioned, through the greater Ann Arbor region. And really it was a matter of our sort of 6-county partnership working and identifying what we wanted to pursue with the study, and then had some resources available from our partners at the state level in order to do this work. And the experience that we've had has been great, very timely and responsive in all of our requests and ups and downs and things that we wanted to ask or address, and really helpful in terms of helping us push out the message to be able to do the work that we had asked GSG to do. So it's been a great experience.
Good. Were there any surprises that you guys got that you've seen in the report in terms of like being able to see a new segment of your workforce that you weren't expecting to see?
Yeah, so I think there was some surprises for us. I think we weren't anticipating the, I guess, amount of quote unquote underemployed individuals in the region. I think we were really surprised to see the figures on that, and I think really interested to view that as an potentially underutilized source of talent for our region. So I think that was really interesting. We also had some things that were surprising to us that weren't exactly telling a great story, but it was surprising to us the amount of people that were not didn't have retirement savings or were not on health insurance, and I thought that was really interesting from a public policy standpoint. But overall, I think we're sort of still exploring the data, and there's a wealth of information here that we're trying to sort of gather. But those are a couple initial reactions.
Okay, great. Well, that's about it. Can you give us like a statement of recommendation for any other regions that would like to go through this process working with GSG?
Sure. I'd say, I mean, I think the key element for us, and I think it's true across the economic development profession, is just that we need to be a lot more focused on sort of the talent questions and being armed and ready to have information about your community and about the talent pools that are available is really critical for our work. And I think utilizing resources like GSG is really critical for us doing business development and business attraction and growth going forward. So it's really critical right now.
Okay, well, thanks, Phil. This has been Phil from Ann Arbor region, being with us today with Growth Services Group, telling us about the new report that they just received from Growth Services Group. Thanks a lot, Phil.
Absolutely. Thank you.